Hey guys, this week's episode is brought to you by Chase Bliss Audio. If you're looking for a pedal that is more creative than you are, Chase Bliss is the way to go. If you're just looking for a pedal that sounds great and maybe has some functions that most of the other pedals in that class on the market don't have.
None of the pedals in that class on the market has. I mean, Chase Bliss pedals do things that no other pedal does.
Right, but I'm saying
it's ridiculous.
Maybe you don't need 100% of the things a Chase Bliss pedal does, but
you
even
don't. You don't.
25% of the extra things is already 25% more things than anyone else does.
Chase Bliss pedals, they're all filler and all killer. Does that work? I mean, there's so much stuff in there that's they're just full of just functions and ridiculous tweaky little things you can do.
These pedals are dressed to the nines. They look great. They got a digital brain and an analog heart.
Aww.
Head to chaseblissaudio.com right now. Tell them 60 Cycle Hum sent you. Double thumbs up.
I like the thing we did a couple of weeks ago where we did awe at the same time after we said heart. I thought that was cute. But
well, we didn't.
Yeah. All right. When you get an ice cube in a gulp of water, Steve, do you chew it or do you swallow it?
I put it back in the water.
Oh, you put it back.
Yeah.
All right. This first ad was sent to us by William Pasternak.
Yep.
Do you think that's the right way to say his name?
That's how I would say it.
Pasternak.
This is a Dumble Overdrive Special Guitar Amplifier Clone, Mercury Magnetics Transformers, High Plate, Skyline EQ, non-HRM. I don't know what any of those things mean.
Yeah, no idea.
High quality parts used. Price is negotiable. Sounds amazing. Made by Golden Amplification.
I feel like clone was too far back in that description line. I feel like that should have been really far up in the front.
Wait, so is Golden Amplification... Who's Golden Amplification?
I've never heard of them. But they want $4,000 for this thing. Yeah, you look up Golden Amplification. I'm not going to look it up. I mean, it looks like it's a clone of a Dumble. That's the Dumble look right there with, you know, the font and the knobs and the grill and everything. Just the shape of the baffle and the chassis and whatnot. You getting anything on Golden amps?
I found a Golden Fee amplification, but I don't think that this is...
Yeah, it's probably some small builder, maybe even like a repair shop or something like that. Who knows? If you know anything about Golden amps, educate us in the comments section, I guess. But how do you feel about an amp that is clearly a clone of an amp that, yeah, goes for... These fetch like $125,000 all the time, right? Like Dumbles. Like,
yeah.
They just fetch way too much money all the time. But it's a clone and it's $4,000. Like and it's not like it's a clone from like a big brand that people pay $4,000 for. Like in a quick search, you couldn't find Golden Amplification. We don't know who the builder is. So it's not like the builder themselves has any sort of clout, you know, to command $4,000. It's simply going for $4,000 because it's a clone of an amp that goes for six figures.
I can't find anything from this builder. You know, this goes back to the whole thing about clones and what's the line with the clone. And, you know, you go back to the front and it says Overdrive Special by Dumble. And to me, that's the line. That is clearly the line.
The line between what?
Between like what it like if you were to say, hey, I got
like,
this.
Is this a clone or is this a forgery?
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. Like this is bordering into counterfeit territory. It's one thing to say like, okay, Seriatone, right? Seriatone makes the Centaura like pedal that is kind of controversial right now.
Sure.
And because it's like a Centaur clone.
But even that doesn't say... It still says Seriatone on it.
It says Seriatone Centaur on it, but it's using like the same kind of box even. Like it's not just like, oh, we put it in a gold box. And so Seriatone also does a bunch of amp clones, but they all say like, so the Seriatone Matchless clone is called the Seriatone Much Less. Right. So it's really obvious like what it's going for. The aesthetic is similar, but it doesn't freaking say Dumble on it.
Yeah, this is trying to trick people. Like if you saw someone with this on a stage, you'd be like, wait, is that a Dumble?
Yeah.
Do they have a real Dumble?
And maybe like the thing that I can't say is I don't know what an Overdrive Special faceplate is supposed to look like, so maybe this isn't even close.
Well, I was always under the impression that each one was kind of different. Like he made them all so like custom that every single one was kind of its own thing. But I mean, this has the look that I've always associated with a Dumble. But the fact that it says "by Dumble" on there, it's kind of sketchy. Like,
well, and the thing is like, so Dumble is also inconsistent with graphics over time.
Sure.
The ones I'm finding are like, I'm not finding any with this particular script, and so maybe, to a trained eye, that is the oh no, because I'm finding one that's exactly the same script.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say
this person did this to reproduce the look of a Dumble as close as they could get it.
Yeah, and this is like a very specific.
And my thing with these Dumbles, that people get them, and they're all supposed to be a little different. There's all these variations and whatnot. And I've always heard that like I don't know his full name. We'll call him Jake Dumble. Like you would do a consultation with him, and he would have you like play through like a bunch of different amps, and then you would tell him which parts you liked of each one, and then he would build like a circuit for you.
I really hate the fact that I feel like I knew what his name was until you said Jake Dumble.
Jake Dumble.
Howard Dumble.
Howard Dumble. And so with that in mind, like, what even is the sound of a Dumble? Can anyone actually like clone a Dumble? Because what really sells with the Dumble is the pedigree as far as who made it.
Right.
Not like a specific like, oh, here's the Dumble sound,
Well, and
that's
so,
my interpretation of the market for these anyways,
And so even with their like, this is the PRS JMod 100, which is the John Mayer signature. And I'm assuming it's based on some kind of Dumble, because that's what Mayer was using for a while.
That's what he loves.
And it's $6,000. So I feel like if you can, I almost feel like if you can drop $4,000 on a clone, you can drop $6,000 on at least something from a real. And again, I don't know who Golden Amplification is. Maybe they're legit. But
buy a PRS amp, there's gonna be for sure resale value, not speculative resale value. There will be resale value.
Right.
This clone from a company that we can't track down is completely speculative as far as value goes.
Yeah.
You can't compare it to any other sales in the market. You can't compare it to completed sales on eBay, Reverb, Craigslist, whatever. Like, you are just guessing at the value of this. And yes, it's a hand-wired amp, but what does that mean? Whose hands? Why do their hands matter?
Right. No, it's totally insane.
Did the person who built this, did they even have access to any Dumbles? Did they just find a schematic and go like, oh, I guess it sounds like it? Like, there's all sorts of things that can happen in an amp that you got to tune by ear,
Right.
It's not just a schematic for the most. I mean, for the most part, it's a schematic. But like, if you're dealing with tolerances in an amp where you're trying to nail this very kind of like esoteric, legendary, who knows what it even sounds like sound, like, how are you going to do that off a schematic? And unless you've got, what you're copying in room with you, and who knows if this guy had anything in room with him. So I don't know. I think $4,000 is a bust on this. I can't imagine a world where I'd pay over $1,000 for this off the used market. What do you think?
I would say,
and that's just me going like, oh, this is round about the value of a custom hand-wired amp that a person made,
Right. No, I think that's pretty fair. I mean, this is a little more involved. Like, there are a lot of parts in it, and I will say, like,
I mean, my Sentra's got a lot of parts in it. It's probably not worth $1,600. Did you have a point you were going to get to?
Saying, like, I know, like, Mercury Magnetics transformers are expensive. Like, all of the pieces of this are probably like,
and it looks like a really clean job.
The highest quality, like, then the person says this is made by Golden Amplification, so I don't even want to say like, oh, this is a This is clearly like not an amateur build.
Right.
It's just like it's a meaningless build.
Yeah.
And so maybe to somebody they know who Golden Amplification is, and this is actually worth $4,000 because maybe that they have a really high localized reputation.
But even if someone is aware of that, if they're savvy, they'll be like, no one else knows who this is. Well, I'm going to pay for a name that only I recognize, you know?
Right. I just did the thing.
That's gross, dude. Just swallow it or something.
I have to wait for it to melt. It's like, so what I mean by localized is like, if I post something on our local Craigslist and say, recently serviced at Top Gear, like that carries weight.
Sure.
But then if somebody screen grabs it and sends it to somebody who lives in St. Louis, they're going to be like, who the hell is Top Gear?
Right. It means nothing.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If Golden Amplification is actually something in Missoula, Montana, then maybe this is actually worth something in Missoula, Montana Craigslist, but nowhere else.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I would not pay $4,000 if something like this came up and it was built by Top Gear. I would maybe go like 1,500 tops. So I'm in the same ballpark as you.
That's just because you trust the people that put it together.
Right. There's a reputation there. There's a traceability where I can go to them and be like, hey, I bought this off of you.
Fix it.
Or I bought this off of someone who got it from you.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But yeah, the only thing I could find for
still
Golden Amplification was Golden Phi. Oh, this is probably what it was, Golden Phi.
We're still pricing this based on what it is, not what it's trying to be.
Right.
We're pricing it based on this is a hand-built amp by someone possibly in a local market. It's, and that's a fair price for that sort of thing.
Right. The flip side of that is for $4,000, like that gets you like into the top end of like a Satellite, something from Satellite.
There's a lot of cool amps.
That gets you into the top end.
$4,000.
Right. It gets you into the top. But I'm saying like it gets you into the top end of some of like the reputable high-end builders, Satellite, Benson.
And this is used.
This is used.
For $4,000, I bet you could track down one of those PRS amps for $4,000 used.
For $4,000, I could probably find somebody that is of similar caliber to Satellite and Benson who's making a Dumble style amp. Get the amp, buy a Dumble sticker, slap it on there, and call it a day. It's not even clever. Like if my thing with clones is like, if you're gonna clone something, do something clever with it. Like
do something fun. But that's what we were talking about earlier. Is like this isn't a clever take on anything. This is a forgery.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. If the person selling it doesn't disclose that it's a clone and they only did it with one word in this, really, I mean, they said the builder, but if they try to sell it as an actual Dumble, then that is fraud.
Right.
That's a crime.
And I mean, I think,
and there's nothing we're seeing on the amp that does that for you. It doesn't say like actually not a Dumble or something like that. It
the flip side of it is
buy Dumble on it.
Is I think Dumble is such a, wow. What did I eat this morning?
I don't know,
pancakes and eggs.
Oh, nice. I did waffles and eggs. We had a similar breakfast.
I think Dumble is such a brand that anyone who's buying a Dumble for like less than, I don't know, $50,000 has to expect that something's
It's like
up.
when you see a $600 Rickenbacker on Craigslist, you're like,
and anybody paying more than $50,000 for an amp should be like in the know enough to like have somebody take it apart and verify that it's real.
Yeah, and there's got to be some kind of insurances involved and stuff like that. It's being sold through that auction house or whatever. You know, still though, someone could be fooled. Not enough people have seen these things in person to know exact specifics. And like I said, a lot of them are, different and they vary. So it's like someone could see this. Someone sketchy could see this and be like, $4,000, I can flip that for 50. And they, take it to a different market, to a different city, whatever, different country even, and try to fleece someone with this thing. I don't like it. The more we talk about this ad, the less I like it. So I say no. I say no to the $4,000 amp. You want to talk about what's new, Steve?
Let's talk about what's new. I got a shipment. I got several shipments.
I'm glad this happened to you this time instead of me.
This is a Moo. It's called a Moo guitar or a Moo ukulele. It's a Moo music.
Well, we should.
They say we design, you rock. So it's actually their website is amumu.rock. Right. I think, or amumu.rock. So
well, I think we should put it out there. This is a contact that is it a sister company of?
It's not a sister company. So this is so a few years ago we made contact with Music Area Cases.
Right.
This is the company that our contact actually operates. So he works. He's working for I think I'm not exactly what his involvement with Music Area is from what his title is, but obviously he's doing artist relation stuff with Music Area because that's how he got in contact with us. My understanding is with Amumu, he's building, he's managing the product line.
Gotcha.
That's his brand. He's running the company.
Okay.
That's how it's been described.
So anyways, he wrote us and he's like, hey, I want to send you guys some stuff. And you were like, hey, okay, yeah, sure. So we started getting shipping notices. And they just came one after another.
I think 3 shipping notices.
So you were holding up, this is like a transducer pickup.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. This is a transducer pickup that you would just attach to the body of an acoustic guitar,
or potentially a ukulele.
Yeah.
So I want to experiment with that. There's an acoustic sound hole pickup here that they sent to us. Maybe you should mess around with that, or we should do a giveaway with it or something. You play acoustic a lot more than I do. I've got.
There's so much crinkling going on.
A Rasta pot leaf strap here. What is that?
This is some kind of super padded guy. 3.5-inch wide strap. Holy moly!
Oh, that's a big boy strap.
This is like a harmonica holder strap. Bass, like a heavy bass or big acoustic guitar kind of a strap.
Yeah. That's your comfort strap there. And then we've got. I'm sure you have more bags of straps down there. I'm gonna start opening some of these boxes. We've got these ukulele-sized boxes because that's what's in them. Oh, Scott. Yeah, this is going to be the crinkle episode right here.
I know. This is terrible potting.
If we throw some whispering in, we'll get a whole different kind of audience.
Hold on, I got another Rasta strap here.
They know what we like. We love Rastafarian stuff. What? There's an extra bag in here. I don't know what. Like strings and probably, clip-on tuner, bunch of extra stuff.
Is that all in the ukulele box?
Yeah, it came with this ukulele
Here's one
box.
of these these flower pattern straps.
Oh, I like
you guys
that.
Can see that? It's pretty cool.
I might keep that one. All right, first ukulele.
I gotta say, the ukulele case, the fact that they come with cases is pretty cool.
I wonder if those are Music Area cases. That's attractive. It's got, what is that called? The spalted maple going on?
Yeah.
The glue smells all right. No electronics or anything, but...
Is smelling ukuleles a thing?
I'm into smelling guitars when they arrive. The nut has a weird iridescence to it. Not weird, but kind of different. I've never seen it before. Not in tune. I'm sending it back. So there's that one. I'm going to check out the other one. I want to see all these ukuleles, and that'll be our what's new. And then I guess maybe I should do...
This one's in foam, in a foam thing in a case.
I should do a video comparing all these, and then pick maybe one I'd want to keep, and then maybe you pick one you want to keep.
This has got the simple triangle rosette.
Yeah, that's a cute little guy.
Clearly.
And then maybe we'll give 2 of them away to inner circlers or something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. This is the essay contest.
Oh, an essay contest.
These little ukulele cases are sick though.
Yeah, they're pretty good bags.
They have a little strap to hold the neck in place. It's like they're trying to be a big boy little case.
A big boy little case. All right. Ukulele number 3 here. We're ripping through these.
I'm just saying, like, when we got a ukulele before from that other company that we got one from, it didn't have a case. It was just sent in a box, and so I was expecting the same thing. So, like, the cases to me, especially for an instrument this small, where it's kind of difficult to track down a case. Like, that's a big added value.
Is this the one the same as the other one I just opened?
It's definitely similar,
Hold
but I
that for a
don't know
second.
if it's exactly the same.
I think it might just be bigger. Yeah, it's bigger. That's interesting.
Okay, yeah, they do, what is it, soprano and tenor ukuleles, so I don't know, I think this is the tenor model there.
All right, open up that last one. See if I can get a tune on this real quick.
So did only
I'm not even gonna
did
try.
only one of the boxes have the
No.
goodie pack in it?
They both of them did that I had. You didn't get them in yours? I think you got the more budget range because yours don't have like the abalone and the spalted maple and stuff.
Oh, this is the
it's got
the Nautilus one. It's called the Nautilus.
Yeah, I'll have to tune these up and do some playing around with them. They look good. I mean, they look fine. I don't see any issue with any of these ukuleles. I'm gonna have to spend some real time playing around with them to have an actual opinion on them.
Oh, even like the sound hole is different on this one.
Yeah, it's got
That's
a funky
pretty
shape.
cool.
Yeah. Oh, yours has strap buttons.
Yeah.
I ain't got no strap buttons.
This is designed for live performance, Ryan.
I want to pair one of these with that little transducer mic and run some ukulele through pedals and stuff like that.
Cool. So that's what's new for this week, I guess.
I like how I've been complaining about having too many guitars, and then Steve goes ahead and orders us 4 ukuleles.
I didn't order any of it. It just said, "Hey, can we ship you some stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds good to me."
Oh man, ridiculous.
That's cool. That's cool. We'll have to figure out what we're gonna do with them all. Obviously, Ryan's gonna slap together some kind of demo fun stuff.
Whatever you don't want and I don't want, I think it'd be fun to do some giveaways. I
Yeah.
think this is fun stuff to give away, especially like the Rasta straps. I don't necessarily want a Rasta strap, but maybe someone out there does. I like ukuleles. I've got that Waterman plastic one. I've got a Lion by Washburn. That's actually pretty decent, despite being a Lion by Washburn. But I don't have those big boy ones, so I probably want to keep one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a clip-on tuner in there. I need to add another
So
clip-on tuner to my pile of clip-on tuners with dead batteries.
So both of the boxes you opened had the clip-on tuner and all that.
Yeah,
was
it the little goodie bag?
Yeah,
I think it really
of
is.
these did. So
I think it is just a price difference sort of thing.
So like I said, the site for that, all that stuff, I believe is, I should have looked this up ahead of time.
We'll put a link down below. Go check it out. We're waiting for Steve to pull up this link
I'm the
now.
worst.
It's exciting stuff.
Amumu.rocks.
Amumu.
Yeah, we'll put a link. Also, a lot of that stuff's on Amazon too.
We usually wouldn't do this. We usually kind of like turn up our nose at import brands that hit us up because they're usually trying to like take advantage of us, it feels like. But we have like a previous relationship with this guy.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, sure, let's do something. Because we did all those music area case tests with the Epiphone SL, so now it feels like this is our guy.
throw some.
And we actually met him in person at NAMM.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
Yeah. So hey, Chinese manufacturers, meet us in person at NAMM, and maybe we'll answer your emails, I guess.
I mean, there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for, I would say, like the methodologies that we've seen kind of pushed on us, where it's kind of abrasive.
Yeah, there's a variety of different ways people will contact us to, do product placement or, to cover things. And a lot of times when it's coming from overseas, things get lost in translation or expectations are unusual. I'll say, join the inner circle. You'll see screen grabs from time to time.
Yeah. All right. This week's other second sponsor, not other sponsor, is D'Addario. This week we're talking about the D'Addario XT strings. Have you had a chance to try yours out yet?
I haven't put them on anything yet.
So the XT string is the next evolution in the D'Addario X series. This is a nickel plated steel with extended life. It's an ultra thin coating for natural feel. I've been seeing these users pop up on forums and saying like these are basically the best of the NYXL technology and the EXP coating for like a super good string. Even guys who are saying that they were like destroying NYXLs.
Yeah.
Said that they got really good life out of these. Like there was one guy who's like, I usually kill a set of NYXLs in like 2 to 3 weeks because my skin's real gross, but I hate the way coated strings feel because it's just a dead sound.
I think
the XT like covers all of that, like takes care of all of those problems.
I think I'm gonna put them on the Titan. It's been a while since the Titan had new strings. I think also been thinking about swapping out the pick guard on this thing, so that'll be my excuse to do.
Cool, man.
To do that.
Yeah. So go check them out. The D'Addario XT strings. See the link below. Let's get on this.
We got a topic.
All right. There have been, it's not even a leak at this point. It's a straight up announcement that October 23rd,
Strymon's doing something.
Something is happening. Something is being released by Strymon Engineering. You go on to their
Instagram.
Oh, I thought it was on Instagram.
This came from their Instagram, I thought.
I'm trying to find the post.
They posted a picture of like their team looking at a computer screen and someone is explaining things and Strymon Engineering says, what are they discussing?
Oh, and
hashtag October 23rd.
On their story, hashtag October 23rd. So do you have any idea what you think it is?
Well, first of all, I think it's going to be something that makes some people very happy and excited. And it's going to be something that makes other people very angry on the internet. And there will be all sorts of discussions about whether or not it should exist and why didn't they build the thing that they wanted them to build.
You just described every Strymon product release.
But realistically, the last thing we saw them do was the Volante. That's what it's called, right? Which was kind of like a departure from their previous case designs and pedal layouts. I'm predicting, I'm putting on my fortune-telling hat right now, that they're going to continue that form factor, that pedal layout. And it's going to, and the way the Volante was super hyper-focused on just a very specific tape echo and everything surrounding that concept. I think they're going to do something similar to that. It's not going to be, a reverb to end all reverbs. It's not going to be a delay to end all delays. It's going to be like, what I'm hoping for is a Volante styled spring reverb where it's just like everything you'd ever want to do with a spring reverb. Modeling various physical spring reverbs over the years, various amp verbs, various external unit verbs, various studio spring reverbs and things like that. And really hyper dialing in, drips and, spring shakes and things like that. That's my personal wish, because then I'll definitely hit them up and be like, hey, let me demo one. But I think even if it's not a spring reverb, it will be something in that vein.
There is,
or it'll be a studio rack unit.
You could be right. A studio rack. Oh yeah, they were working on that for a while.
Like a synth module or something.
Like the You're talking about like the Magneto?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The speculation that I have heard, based on some of the Instagram posts, and people can go through and look at it, is that they are going to release an amp modeler.
Interesting.
They have an Instagram post up that where the backdrop, now it's like one of the firmware engineers, and the backdrop on both of the desktops are just a bunch of like classic amps side So it's like a Vox AC30 and like a Fender and whatever. And then they also did a and this isn't my idea. I read this somewhere else from someone who was looking at their social media, and there's also a picture of where it's like Strymon sells socks, and the socks are sitting next to some schematics, and if you look closely at the schematics, they are amp schematics.
Interesting.
So
I mean, that would definitely be something they haven't covered in the market yet.
yeah, or it could just be a phaser, because this is the year of the phaser.
That's true. It is the year of the phaser.
Yeah.
We are still in 2019, the predicted prophesied year of the phaser.
Yes.
So maybe it'll be a Mega Volante style phaser that covers everything that a Phase 90 can do. It's specifically Phase 90s.
A 90-degree. Oh, I was gonna say it's only Phase 90s.
Only Phase 90. It really dives into just
Not
that pedal.
No Phase 45s.
It'll be a one knob Strymon pedal, and it'll be glorious. I mean, both those options color me interested.
Right.
An amp modeler from Strymon and the thing I was talking about, some sort of Mega Spring modeler. I'd be way in. So, Strymon, if you're listening, you've got 3 days to change all your plans.
I think this spring modeler makes a lot of sense from the perspective of, or like the idea that it would be following in the footsteps of the Volante.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of directions to go there.
Yeah, me too.
But
well said, Steve.
it's just going to be a fuzz pedal.
It's just going to be a fuzz. They're going to come out with a fuzz face, and it's going to be all analog. There won't be any digital processing in it at all. Just hey guys, here's our 2-knob fuzz face. I hope you like it.
Yep. $400.
That would be buck wild if Strymon was like, hey, here's a line of 12 analog pedals we just put together. Deal with it. People would buy them.
Do you think? No, I mean, people would buy them, but I think
it's way outside of who they are.
Yeah, there's definitely already.
If Strymon ever gets like snatched up in a big like corporate like buyout,
right,
that'll be the first thing that happens.
They start releasing analog pedals.
Yeah, no, they'll come out with a line of like 12 pedals first year, and then like 6 pedals every year after that, and it'll just be analog pedals, and they'll bring in like what his name, Bill Fripp or whatever, to design them or whatever. But
George Trips.
Me and names this episode.
I'm pretty sure isn't Bill Fripp the guy in from King Crimson?
I don't know names. I thought the guy's name was Jake Dumble earlier.
I like it, and I like how even in that case you could have just been like Mr. Dumble. Like you could have just skipped it entirely, but instead you're like, Dumble. Stanislav's Dumble.
It's more fun this way,
fifth.
Steve. It's more fun.
Jake Dumble.
I want to talk about these guitars that Paul Pennington picked up recently.
All right, okay.
We didn't ask him permission to talk about this, so hopefully it's okay. But he posted on the Facebook group these 2 guitars, and he was just like, hey, I need help identifying these. One was like a semi-hollow, like Beetle bass sort of concept.
Yeah.
And one was a Baldwin Gemini. He didn't know what it was.
You knew what it was.
I knew what it was immediately. I've looked at those. I've shopped those before. I think Eastwood made a copy of them.
Oh.
A reissue sort of thing. I've never played one, so I don't know if they're any decent, but I know that there is a market for them out there in like the $400 to $500 range.
It looks like trash.
Oh yeah, these look like dumpster dives, like 100%. Like these were underneath newspapers and cat crap in a hoarder's house. Like that's what these look like right now. And the headstock on the bass, he actually said that he sold the bass. Sold the bass for $129 shipped, and shipping was $14. I don't remember.
Crazy
I think he paid like $50 for both of these. Was the story?
Yeah, it was like 50 or 60, something like that.
I can't believe that bass sold because the headstock has been massacred. Someone just cut the top off of it.
Yeah, so it's it's a Hofner viola style bass, violin, whatever you want to call it. So it had the scroll top headstock, and somebody just took the scroll off. Apparently, it did not fit into whatever case they had.
That's a tragedy.
Yeah. That was a super bummer.
Molest a scroll top headstock, I hate you. Like, I don't care what else you've done in your life. I hate you. I've always wanted like a Burns with a scroll top. I love scroll top looks. It's so cool. And to just cut one off, I hope we never meet is all I'm saying. But it's also like crazy because they did like a weird, like, what is that material covering a vacant pickup hole in the bass's neck
I
pickup?
actually thought that might be original. Maybe it's not.
No, there's no way. It kind of, my first thought was like, oh, it's wood. But now looking at it more, it's like it's stretched out weird where it almost looks like a piece of rubber or fabric or something like a piece of brown felt, maybe.
Oh, it could be felt and it's like
it's like pinned
put on
down
tight. I don't know.
It looks janky, and it's missing knobs and pick guards and stuff like that. I can't believe he was able to get 130 for it, basically. 115 after shipping. That is bananas. The Gemini, I want to talk about the Gemini now.
Let's talk about the Gemini.
It looks in pretty junky condition. Not as bad as that bass. It's missing the name on the headstock. But the thing that's really crazy about this, and we didn't see it till later on when he updated us on it, is he started to strip the body. I don't know if he's planning on keeping this for himself or refinishing it.
Is that what it was? Is he stripping the body?
He's stripping the body, and on the back, like there wasn't a neck plate or screws. It just looks like the neck had been glued in. And as he started to strip the paint away, he started to find wood glue where the holes would be, and he scraped it out, and someone drilled the screws through the body into the neck, through the heel, and then filled without a neck plate or any sort of washers or anything. It's just screws into wood. And then they filled the resulting holes with wood glue and filler and then painted over it. That is bananas.
Bonkers.
Yeah. All the B words. Buck wild, bananas, bonkers.
It's bewildering.
It's bewildering.
I'm befuddled. I mean, this is just mind-boggling, man.
Mind-boggling? I mean, I'm still like jealous of his score here. I think he said he paid $50 for both of these. But man, what a pair of wrecks.
Yeah.
And it's still shocking that he was able to sell that bass.
It's crazy. That bass, oh, man, now it's bothering me because I'm looking at a bunch of different like violin basses over time, and I have no idea what this is. I don't know if somebody was able to identify it.
It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be some sort of, like K or some kind of. I don't think it's a legit Hofner bass.
No, it's definitely not.
Some sort of wild import
the
copy.
Hofner basses don't have F holes.
Oh, they don't?
No.
What do you know?
Yeah, I didn't know that until I started.
It could be like an Aria or something, or who knows?
Yeah, somebody out there is going to recognize those pickups and know exactly what it is.
But as much of a wreck as these things are, I mean, that Gemini's got the trem arm, and that's the first thing to go missing on these old kind of like import guitars.
Yeah.
I would have been out the door for sure for both of these for $50 locally.
Oh yeah, this is a steal, and that's why.
Paul,
then he sold it, and that's why Paul is one of the Flippin' Flippers.
Yeah, that's a podcast. Go check it out, guys. He's probably going to talk about this on his own show.
I think he already did.
Doing double duty on it for him.
Yep.
I mean, even if that Gemini isn't rescuable as it is, there's someone out there who will buy that trim with the arm for more than what he paid for the guitar. There's someone who will buy those pickups, who will buy original knobs and switches and tuners. I mean, it's a parts bucket for someone who really needs it.
And sometimes that's like, when we started the show years ago, that was like the idea is like, what can you flip? What can you, what
we used to spend a lot more time talking about flips, and then they went and started their own show with the Flippin' concept, and we kind of backed off the flips.
Well, we just stopped selling.
Yeah, that's true. We stopped flipping.
So it's like you can't, when you're not flipping, you can't talk about it.
Well, it's like we moved more into like getting 4 ukuleles a week and having stuff sent to us, and it feels more crude to be like, oh, someone sent us to us. Now let's flip it. Like that just
Well,
seems
it's like I'm also
kinda
just not.
crude.
I just don't have the time to troll Craigslist all
yeah,
day.
me either. That's why we have everyone else do it for us.
But you're saying with the Gemini, and like this was even we talked about was it last week or 2 weeks ago, the Gibson up in LA that had like the busted headstock
Yeah.
for like $200.
That's a flip.
And people were like, that thing looks like garbage. And I'm like, dude, like that's $200. There's probably $200 in parts.
Sure.
Like, or if you know somebody who's like actually knows how to like fix that, like you could probably, make a little bit of money on it, even if you have to pay for the,
I mean, going back to that guitar,
paying repairs.
$200 for an SG standard. You pay someone $250 to repair that headstock. Now you've got a guitar you can sell for $1,000. It's a flip.
Maybe not 1,000, but
$900.
But I'd say at least 8. I'd say at least 700.
It's a flip.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it, it's a flip for sure. All right, next monster. Last monster.
This last but never least, this episode is brought to you by Sweetwater. This month at Sweetwater is the creative content creation
month.
Content creators month. That's why we're using this Rode. Well, it's not why we're using the Rodecaster. The Rodecaster is freaking great, but that's one of the things that we are promoting is the Rodecaster. They have a whole bunch of different products and bundles put together specifically for people who are looking to get started on YouTube, looking to start making podcasts, looking to just record in their own homes, all kinds of stuff there. Go check it out. Lots of deals. Sweetwater.
Go check them out. They're super cool. Click our link. We've got affiliate links going on with them, guys.
Yeah.
So go clicky. Even if you're not going to buy something, click it now and then remember it later.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic.
Yeah. Did you screen grab this topic?
I did screen grab it. So
I
I'll
don't
grab
have
it.
I know what the general topic is. But
We're going to talk about Squiers versus Fenders. We've talked about this to death in the past, but I feel like it deserves an update. Where did my screen grab go?
It's in your photo album, right?
Is it though?
He
All
lost
photos?
it.
Oh, there it is. I found it. They
Okay.
changed the friggin' iPhone changed the way they show photos. So Joseph Wu or Woe.
I think it's Whoa.
Really, what's the big difference between Squier and Fender to justify the huge price difference? I play my American Telly daily, and when I play a Squier in a store, I can't say it feels like a significantly lower quality guitar. If I get an Infinity Jazzmaster, am I going to regret it later in a way that I won't realize until I have it?
I think with an Affinity Jazzmaster, to me, that I've very rarely been impressed by anything that comes out of the Affinity line. I'll just get that out of the way. But once you get...
Wait, say that again? You've very rarely
been impressed by a guitar from the Affinity
line.
Okay.
Yeah, the Affinity line is pretty much bottom of the barrel with Squier.
So will you regret it later? I mean, it just depends. Like if you have more money later and you're happy with that now, then you're not going to regret it later.
It really depends on what your goals are for that guitar.
If in the future you're like, well, I've outgrown this guitar, I wish I had something else. That's a different angle. But that being said, like across the board, the Squier product line is kind of slowly creeping up the price ladder. I mean, everything's getting more expensive all the time because that's the nature of the market.
That's something I've been noticing the past couple of years is it really feels like Fender is pushing the higher end, like the classic vibe and vintage modified stuff closer up into the made in Mexico price point.
Right.
And the made in Mexico price point is pushing farther up into entry level USA stuff.
Right.
And not just in price, but like the quality has been pushed up too.
Yeah. So, comparing the big two, I guess at this point we're kind of where, like the Fender Mexico stuff, the Fender made in Mexico, which is the Player series, is really priced to compete against like the Gibson faded stuff or the Gibson, like, is it the LPJ? They're changing their stupid names all the time. I don't know what the 2019 series are called. But like a couple years ago, it was like the LPM was similarly priced.
Right.
And yeah, like you said, like the higher end of Squier is now, do they have a $500 model now?
I
or is
don't
it
know
only
about
up to 400?
500, but the those classic vibe Starcasters were 400 even.
Yeah, and I know the classic vibe Telly and Strat, I think were like in the 350 to 375 range.
Yeah, and that's what Mexican Strats used to be, Mexican Tellys too. Like when I was in the late 90s, early 2000s, like that's what you would pay for in MIM Strat is $400.
Right, and in turn, that is kind of the question of.
I mean, here we are 2 decades later.
We're talking about a 20-year change in time, and some of that is probably just actual pace of inflation.
But I feel like
thinking hard about,
like the quality of that Starcaster that I played at NAMM. I feel like that's fully on par with what Mexican Fenders used to be.
Right.
And I feel like Mexican Fenders have become a lot better now. Like all that Ventera stuff feels really nice. Versus, just your standard, Strats and Tellys from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like I think they've just been able to bump up quality across the entire range, and there's no reason they can't charge more for them, and there's no reason that you can't pick up one of the upper end Squiers for $400, $350, whatever, and have a completely serviceable, completely giggable guitar that no one should complain about, really. I mean, at that price point, then yeah, it's swap pickups if you want, like whatever. But I think the build quality is there. The fret quality is there. Like they're great guitars. I mean, really what it comes down to is vanity.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel affected by the vanity of having Squier on the headstock versus Fender? I'm not asking you. I'm asking the question asker out in space somewhere.
Leave a comment. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know if you've played any of the newer Squier stuff and what you think about it. Or the newer Fender Mexican lines.
I see people on stages playing Squier all the time now, especially like in the surf scene where people are picking up Jazzmasters and Jaguars, and they don't necessarily want to haul out, their vintage Jazzmaster that's worth a couple grand and is kind of temperamental and needs constantly, loving to keep going. They're like, oh, I'm going to take out the Squier today because I want to bang it around on stage and I don't want to care, They're fully giggable guitars and they play great. So I don't know. What are you missing? I think most of it, probably like 90% of what you're missing with the Squier versus Fender is the vanity aspect of it. And then after that, like that last 10% is a combination of vanity and kind of, well-deserved cork sniffery. The guitars do get better, but I don't feel like they get playably better. It's kind of like treat yourself better, It's like the difference.
There's always a level of that. And
it's a difference between like a $15 bottle of wine and a $50 bottle of wine.
And this goes back to the original post question. Are you going to regret buying an Affinity later? If you like it now, then you just have to think about, if you like it now and then later you're like, well, now I can, like 5 years from now, you do feel like you feel a difference. Then you can sell that one, get something new, and whatever your loss is, that's your personal rental fee.
Well, I think with Affinity stuff, I think the quality does drop off fairly dramatically from, say, classic vibe down to Affinity.
Oh, I think it does too, but I'm just saying from the perspective of like being concerned about like, oh, am I gonna like regret this? I'm like, if you think it's fine now, then you're probably not gonna regret it.
I think with an Affinity, say Jazzmaster, like he was talking about, you're not gonna buy one of those instead of buying a regular Jazzmaster, because an Affinity Jazzmaster is like a double humbucker thing with a hardtail, and like a different aesthetic. Like if you want a Jazzmaster, they can get a Jazzmaster. If you want an Affinity Jazzmaster, it's because you want that guitar, and it's not really about that guitar versus a different Jazzmaster.
Yeah.
So look at it for its own specific qualities, and decide whether you want that or not. Really, that's my call.
I agree.
Last ad. Let's get out of here. Let's get to the point with this guy.
What are you doing? Oh, I want to do some housekeeping real quick.
Yeah, housekeep us.
Housekeeping. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Michael Lohner, for joining us at the $10 level, the Inner Circle level.
Grab something out of that box for him.
Grab something out of that box.
I'll
figure it out later.
I want to get rid of stuff. We're going to surprise you. We'll send you something out of this swag box that we have here.
I got to figure it out. It's going to be, we'll talk about it later anyway. Thanks for supporting us. Patreon.com/60cyclehum cast.
Yeah.
I can never remember what the actual link is.
I mean,
I should know.
there's links to it from 60 Cycle Humcast. We're on Patreon.
There's a link in the description if you want to support the show. New thing I think we're going to do, if you can handle that document I sent you.
I can handle it.
Is we're going to put the list of everyone who supports the show through Patreon at the end of the episode. So instead of looking at our dumb faces during the song, you can read your name.
Well, I think I'll do some transparencies. People can do both.
Oh, there we go. And that it's going to be everyone. $1, $2, $1,000 a month, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone on that is the egalitarian list. All support goes on all the same font size. What is going on? Ryan is wandering around the room. Ryan is plugging in. Ryan is... Oh, I know what's going on. Yeah, so
I just
anyway.
remembered that we listened to the songs at the end of the episode now, so I needed to get the cable to make that happen.
Yeah. That's a great way to support the show. Also, sending us ads is also actually another really cool way to support the show. Just joining the Facebook group and being a generally cool person.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so this last ad, I don't remember who sent this to us. I feel like someone private messaged it to me. And then I screen grabbed it and I forgot to put in the information. So if you sent this, claim your internet credits in the comments section or on the Facebook group. This is an electric guitar.
It's pointy.
It is pointy. It is listed in Riverside for $150. Selling one of the rock gods of guitars, a Hondo Death Dagger. Recently tuned and restrung. I don't have the full description. I didn't click.
Hasn't been played much since then. Hanging on the wall, looking awesome. Comes with a Hondo. You screen grabbed it.
Oh, there it is.
Hondo custom hard case because it definitely needs it.
Yeah.
Needs to go to a new home. Make me an offer. Please make sure you're serious and ready to buy. Please don't waste my time kicking tires.
Now I've seen these around before.
Yeah.
And I've come to the conclusion that they're not good guitars.
Really?
It's a little bit of a Sherlock Holmesy way of getting around to that conclusion because I've never actually played one. But the reason I suspect these are not good guitars is because every time I see them, the points, the ends of the super sharp stiletto points on these guitars are not broken. They're always pristine.
And so that makes you think that they're bad because people
are not playing them.
Because people aren't playing
Because
them.
if anyone played this for any amount of time, those tips would be snapped off immediately.
That could just mean they're not playing them live. That doesn't mean they're not playing them.
If these were good guitars, people would be playing them live.
Maybe the people who have them and broke them just don't want to play them live because they're broken.
Look at this thing, man. There are 4 sharp points on this. 2 of them are on the headstock.
Those headstock ones are crazy.
You could not walk across a stage without bumping mic stands with this guitar. You just could not.
It's missing the nut locks.
You can replace those for the Floyd Rose. But I've seen Randy Rhoads. Every used Randy Rhoads V I've seen, the tip is busted off. It's the same sort of pointy shape.
I'm glad you clarified that because I was going to make a seance joke.
Every time I see Randy Rhoads, he's like, I'm dead. I'm a ghost. I just don't.
Too soon.
I don't think I've ever seen one of these that's messed up. And they're wild looking guitars. I mean, look at it. It's got 6 screws holding the neck into the heel.
Let's get down to brass tacks here, Ryan. $150. Is this really?
That's what the guitar's worth, I think.
Are you active? If you lived in Riverside, are you trying to hunt this down for $150?
I don't want it for me, but I'd be hitting up people I know, like, hey, you got to go get this.
I feel like this guitar is weird enough that you could get your money back on like a couple demo. Like if you did a couple videos with it, I think you could get the views.
Let's see what eBay says about these. Well, someone made. Well, there's a Yakima Death Dagger for $850. I don't know. It's like a copy of it.
Interesting.
The rest of the listings are knives. Actual knives. There's a couple of fantasy swords in here. All right, let's go to filter to completed listings.
Oh, dude, apparently there's also a Death Dagger bass.
One went for $139. You know you want that bass, Steve.
I'm seeing them on Reverb in the $300 to $400 range.
I think it's a good buy. I just really doubt that it's a good guitar. I mean, Hondo stuff can kind of be all over the map. Sometimes you can get a winner, but for the most part...
I'm not saying it's great. You really think it's going to be bad? I mean, it's a Hondo. Here's one. Someone's trying to get $1,000 for one.
I think it's going to be just bad enough to not be worth playing. I think it'll be fine where you pick it up and you're like, oh, yeah, it's fine. But it's not good enough for you to be like, I got to play this thing. I just got to play it.
That's probably fair.
Yeah.
That's probably fair.
It also tricks you into thinking this has the craziest fret axis ever.
But it really doesn't.
And it's just kind of normal fret axis for a 24 fret guitar.
Yeah. If it had like a 4-bolt neck instead of a freaking 6-bolt neck, the fret axis would be pretty good.
I think this guitar could survive getting a little amputation on that butt end there.
Just only have the single point?
Or like taking it in a little bit.
Then it would
less
have
dramatically for more of a more subdued Explorer shape on the back end there, and just leave that bottom point.
Then it would be what was the brand? What was that make that we did a few weeks ago?
I don't know.
The one that only you knew about because it was the Van Halen thing, and I don't know anything.
Oh
about Van Halen.
yeah, that Kramer.
Yeah, I forget what it was called.
Yeah, I'd be kind of. I guess what
it would kind of have like that aesthetic. The Hydra, Kramer Hydra. It'd have that general aesthetic. But like way like an extreme version.
Yeah. What year do you think these were made? Just off the look of it. We don't need to actually know.
1987.
87 is a good guess. I think I'm going to go 90. I think this is farther
late?
along in the history of pointy guitars. Let's see if one of these eBay listings has a date. Rare vintage. It doesn't say anything about the
Death Dagger family. I found a blog about it.
There we go.
The Death Dagger family was built in Japan. So there's like examples of it, but I'm not seeing anyone like anywhere where he says, he just says it was early 80s. So it sounds like, or actually says mid. Hondo had an amazing catalog in the early 80s. Yeah, but he never specifies specifically like what year.
You're probably closer to right.
That's a different one. That's the H2 Metal Master.
Of course. Just the pointiness of this.
1983.
Whoa, that's early.
Yeah, this is 1983. It has a new high volume X4 humbucking pickup. This one does not have the Floyd Rose, so now I'm wondering if that Floyd Rose is actually aftermarket.
I don't think so. I think this is just a different version of it, and this has a different pickup in it as well.
Yeah.
But the pointiness of it just reads as 90s to me more for some reason. Weird. All right, well, if you care about this guitar and have input on it, let us know in the comments section, as always. And send us songs. Steve, tell us about the song that we're about to listen to. We're done, Steve. Stop looking at those guitars. We're done with guitars. It's time for songs now.
What? We're done with guitars? This song was sent in by Richard. He's in a band called Brigades. I think we've played some stuff from them before. This song is called China Doll.
Go as far as the moon can shine, but the lighting is dying. Never a picture when we're chasing the skyline. It's just soft eyes and your Calvin Klein. Whose connotation doesn't land my chest right. I'm trying, I'm fighting. The sun's attention that is all in my insides. I feel miles from alright. It's you. Just lie to me, girl. of a China doll. It's you.
I hope there's like 3 more solos.
I got my fingers crossed for a bridge. Like another bridge.
Okay. Oh, this is the end. I mean, this is the kind of music I listen to like all the time, so
That was fun.
I really like this.
It's the kind of song where like I would never choose to listen to that on my own. It's just not my
know you
style.
wouldn't.
And I would be like, if I was trapped in a car with a bunch of friends and this is the kind of music they were listening to, it would be just like, oh, I'm just exhausted by this. But I would have a blast being in that band and playing on that track because
Right.
there's no part of that music that isn't fun to play.
Yeah,
Like that song's kind of a banger.
it was a banger.
Yeah.
Let's listen to it again.
No. Okay, bye everybody. Stay grounded.